Yes, good morning today. Today we want to look at the newspapers for today. We are going to start with the Daily Nation, whereby we are seeing that the headlines for today is where we talk about the Ruto cornered, how Ruto cornered the matatu operators. We see that there is a meeting that happened yesterday in Mombasa, and we can just go a little bit and pass through so that we see. So the headline there is how Ruto cornered. We say, in the days leading to the transport sector strike over the steep rise in the fuel prices, many planning meetings took place behind the scene as the clock ticked down Monday 18th. And when the strike was due to begin, lots of deliberations took place and at Stoke. So that is the headline. Yesterday we saw that Ruto agreed with the Matatu operators to at least reduce the price of fuel by around 10 shillings and also increase. We are also seeing a certain girl here talking about why she's pursuing PhD before starting a family. So, so when we look at, we say here is Erin Auma, mother died shortly before she started school and became the only thing that she could hold on. So this girl seemingly she lost the parent, and now the only thing she wanted was to make her parents proud. So what she did best was like she wanted to go to school. And then we talk about the mental talk. Men should celebrate each other more. We get that men this day they don't celebrate. Then there is another one in here. Why root administration is failing. Then we also talk about concern Parliament should passing consider before passing the finance bill into law. There is some facts there that people are criticizing the finance bill. Why men are avoiding intimacy with their wives is also there. Then we look at about the story of Robert again. I'm happy with my 5 baby mamas. I see no need to marry. There's a boy called Robert, seemingly doesn't want to get married. So he has 5 baby mamas. So it means that he has people from different families. He has wives, like he has he has children with different mothers. Then there is a story of Timothy Ouma, first rising Kenyan midfielder, shines with Polish giant. Then we look at another story about the gambling crisis devouring Kenya's slum children. Then we were just going through. Let us also go through what is called the People's Daily. You see what is there. So we look at now the People's Daily is talking about the finance bill. So there is a picture of youthful leaders where we have Sifuna, Salasia, Babu Wino, and many others, and including Kibagendi and the rest. So when you look at them, and there is a story here and then there is Ndini Nyoro, where he's being asked why he has been silent, for the longest time, because seemingly, and his remarks place him among the leaders increasingly calling for the greater transparency in public finance management. That is the story of Ndini Nyoro. There is another story here that facing Mount Kenya, will Ruto now shift focus to Western Kenya because seemingly the mountain has become slippery. So seemingly President Ruto is now shifting his political base to the other side. Then we look at now the fuel raging backlash over the prices despite the state effort. So still the prices of fuel are still high, even though the state have also tried to do what they could. Then Then there is young tax changing face of the Kenyan politics. There is a group of young men where we see Sifuna, Babu Owino, and the likes of Pauline Njoroge and many others. These people, they are determined to change the face of the politics, whereby now we're not going to have the usual old ways, being that they will be the presidential candidates or any other person. Then we also talk about over 750 Diani investors face eviction over alleged title deed revocation. There is this investor in Diani who is now facing some kind of eviction because the title deed has been revoked. So seemingly, the investor must now look for ways in which he can now harmonize with the Diani people. Then we talk about the oil workers seek to block the new KPC hire, the Kenya Pipeline Company. Then we talk about the Kwale clinical officers now vow to stay away from work. So Kwale County, there are people, the clinical officers are now they are planning to go on strike, and seemingly they are determined to stay away. We also look at Oparanya. Oparanya is now becoming a beggar, whereby yesterday he stated very clearly that seemingly his office is being overlooked, whereby sometimes he doesn't even have fuel. So as CS is now turning into a beggar because he has to ask for the accounting officers for his fuel issue. Then there is another. Ruto completely missed the point on transport mess. Then there is also another, how Beijing rewrote rules for development for Kenya. Then we say lessons for the death of the Falit and Kabuga. There's a story about Kabuga there. While living richly doesn't mean owning a lot. Because there's a lady there who says that you might have you are living, but being that you are rich doesn't mean that you have a lot, because you may not even own anything, because rich people, they have a lot of things to do because they have so many people they're taking care of. There is another headline there where we say, let's end the casual misuse of title honorable among the Kenyan politicians. And we have the young boy Dwere, the young Were who was elected just the other day, Kasipul MP. Yeah. And then there is this. Then we look at what is called indigenous vegetables in Gusii region is the forgotten wealth. We see that there are some photos of some mama who are working in a shamba, but they're saying that the indigenous vegetables in Gusii land now, it is becoming something that people have forgotten. So that one was the People's Daily. Let us look at the Star and see what is on the Stars today. So on the Star, we talk about the news for today. We look at now, there is this Karitu Murungi painfully recount the daughter Anita Kendi's final song, final hours. Anita was the daughter of the former Meru governor, Karitu Murungi, who passed on and was buried, I think yesterday. There is fresh storm brews over Ruto tax bills as lobbies revolves. So seemingly Ruto is trying to lobby the parliament so that they can be able to pass whatever he wants. And then there is alarm over the rising cases of teenage pregnancies. Then we also look at MP question the duplications of roles between the NCIC and the Director of Cohesion. MP says the two agencies are performing similar function thereby straining public resources. Then we look at now the PS Interior. You say state plans 220 billion security upgrade in 6 regions ahead of the polls. Then there is new wildlife bills put counties in the driving seat. Proposal law outlined the requirement for the counties to develop management plans for each of the national reserve within their jurisdiction. Then we look at now there is storm. Storm brews as lobbies revolve against the finance bill. So seemingly there is a problem with the MPs. They are not in total agreement to support the finance bill, and seemingly the President Ruto might get himself again in trouble again. There's a story of Kindiki here on the Star. Professor Kindiki, who is the Deputy President. Let's look at now the Star. Now, when we talk about, there is this thing that now we have to talk about yesterday, even though it's not about the Gazette Today, but we can look at what happened yesterday at the Jared Okello's funeral, whereby we get that most of the Luo governors were present, except Orengo and Nani and Professor Nyang' Nyong'o. And seemingly, Governor Gladys Waka took a swipe at Professor Nyong'o and Orengo, and seemingly there is what is called the discord, and they are trying to call for the unity. And when you look at them, most of them are talking about the Raila have built the party, but remember, we as a community, we have to fall forward. Even Kenyatta built KANU, but when he passed on, there was nothing that could be done. Even his son could not stick to the party. So they will also have to spare some little time, even though this one might look at them and some of them might take that this is very hard, but that is the point, that is the truth. So when you look at what Governor Gladys Wanga said yesterday, it's something that is not worth listening to, because seemingly she was trying to say the same thing every day, whereby she always talk about how the party has grown and the rest. Okay, the party has grown, we don't deny, but now the people who are driving this party now, seemingly they don't even understand where they're supposed to go. Because even themselves, seemingly they have a problem. Because if they cannot be able to accommodate the divergent opinion, then how do they expect people to be together? Seemingly, this one will now split the ODM into two functions, because the moment you keep on criticizing instead of fighting for the solutions, and you as the leaders, then it means that you're driving people away. And when you drive people away, it means that you remain with what is called the shell of the party. And seemingly that now they have known that they have lost touch, so they have turned to what is called now the feelings, whereby they now want to evoke the feelings that being that Raila passed on. But remember that Kenyans are not that stupid. They will have to do what is right, because as President Ruto used to say that Kenya iko na upungufu ya wajinga. We have the shortage of fools, so it means that we don't have them. Everybody in Kenya is just a bright guy who is just planning for opportunities. When you look at what President Wotoboro said, it means that he was also seemingly yesterday. What happened that? Sorry about that. So when you look at the story that happened yesterday, whereby we get that in the burial of the late Mama Jared Okelo, the MPs for Nyando, seemingly that the Luo leaders have realized that the people have moved away from the usual stories. So seemingly that they are trying to whip the emotions because they know that without that they will not be able to manage how things will be moving. Because seemingly the Luo Nyanza things, the way they do their things is mean that sometimes they have to accept that things have moved past. And with this, it means that a lot has to change because seemingly it is not going to be easy and it is not going to be business as usual because most of these people go home and like how it has been. So seemingly the way things are, most of these people, they have realized that things are not going to work the way they thought. Because when you look at Mama Gladys Wanga is mean even the way she speaks, she's too emotional and seemingly she thinks that there is somebody who is after her. But it's not after her. People are just after that seat that is what people want because seemingly she has not delivered at the way people expected. So she has to come to the realization and accept that right now things will not work the same way it used to be. When you also look at the way Dr. Buru talked, that is somebody who is trying to whip the emotions again, seemingly because he has now come to the realization that people are no longer interested in the party, but people were following the late Raila and not the party. So it means that even if today Raila could have come and said that people are going to party C, people could have just still gone there and they could have just remained with their ODM. So when you look at how they speak, it means that the Luo unity that people used to talk about, it is there, but the only thing is that they don't want the current leaders. They want new leadership and they want change. And that change must come now. But the only thing that those leaders don't want to do is they don't want to let those go. They don't want to let go those seats because they are the ones who wants to sit on them and not any other person. So when you see the way they talk like that because seemingly they want people to feel that they are being targeted because of any other thing. When you look at even how Raymond Omolo spoke, Raymond Omolo was speaking like that because seemingly he's interested. He wants President Ruto to get his second term so that he can be reappointed. So everybody is marking a territory. That is what is happening there. And then when you look at even other people, Oburu Dinga, he talked about zoning whereby he didn't want UDA to field a candidate because he knows if UDA field a candidate, then that one, their goods is cooked. Properly they can lose their seat. So it means even if Sifuna talks it seemingly, it means that they are in total agreement that things are not the same way it used to be, whereby UDA or any other coalition could field a candidate in where the ODM stronghold and still ODM could win. It means that people who are threatened and they fear competition, though, because they know that obviously they will lose their seat because they have not done what they were supposed to do and what they promised the people. When you see the likes of Nyong'o missing a funeral, that is something that is questionable because seemingly Nyando is in Kisumu County and seeming professor could have even tried to fix time or send the deputy governor Matthews Owili, but I don't know whether he was there. But seemingly, all in all, it has happened. But as a community, I believe that they're going to do better because they have come to the realization that there is no party that belongs to the people. All these parties belongs to the political class and the government of Kenya because they don't champion your ideas. What they champion is that they say that, like Uburu talked about, there will be free and fair nomination if they fail to agree. So seemingly, they still want to play the usual cards. And let's wait and see. Thank you for listening, and let's meet in our next podcast. Thank you.